late spring and summer in Williamston. I just wanted to get together and talk to you about what's going on here. Let's start with housing. What are we looking at on housing here in Williamston?
So still building, still under construction, doing site work out at Mahaffey and Brock Lane projects.
Remind people how big those projects will be when they're done.
So Mahaffey's going to be, at last count, they keep moving it around and adjusting their numbers, but it's going to be between 60 and 80 homes on Mahaffey, and approximately the same over on Brock Lane as well. Both of those were town-owned properties that are being developed by private developers. The good thing about that being town properties is that we were able to make more stringent requirements, even from what zoning controls. So basically, we're getting very, very quality product. Brock Lane, for example, will have sidewalks, curb and gutter throughout, trail system, trailhead. Those are important amenities, particularly that area that close to the park, that we wanted to make sure that we're able to get figured into there.
And this is the most new housing in Williamston in a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, we're experiencing tremendous growth. I have developers call me every day, and we want growth, Greg, but we want quality growth too. We don't want just everybody throwing up homes all over the place, because once these developers come in and develop a piece of property, they make their money, they're out, and then we're left to deal with, the homes, whether they're good quality or bad quality. Same thing with the roads and infrastructure. We're left to deal with it for the next, decades to come.
Are y'all doing, everybody's working on development standards. I guess Williamston is too, on what kind of houses you will allow in here.
Yeah, the good thing, and I credit the previous administration too, they did a really good job, Mayor Durham and the Planning Commission, of making sure we knew growth was coming. It was inevitable. And so they planned on, was able to make sure that zoning matched what we wanted to see in Williamston. While we have growth, we have controlled growth, and we have planned growth. Our infrastructure, looking at areas of town where our infrastructure may need more improvement to support such development. We've got tons and tons of infrastructure projects going on. Even today, some of which are being finished up, like the Mill Village water line replacement project. Until we, made some drastic changes with the water system that was put in probably 30s or 40s, with the water system along the Mill Village, there's not a whole lot of development that could happen in that area. So two things that it'll improve, obviously the water pressures and stuff like that for the residents. The other thing it does is actually bring the water lines back to the front of the roadway, like what you would traditionally see. We, believe it or not, Greg, we actually, when we do some research, we found out there were water lines, actually city-owned water lines, running under homes. And then it was pretty standard. It ran through everybody's backyard. So just getting to the meters to do service and maintenance and was an absolute nightmare. And again, there was time for those lines to be replaced anyway. Some of them were the old clay pipes. We hadn't had clay pipe in a long, long time used for water. They were leaky and whatnot. So we're able to upgrade those. Garcon Construction finished up a section of that area, a good section of that area, last week, and DHEC turned over the permitting to go ahead and make those lines active. So I expect that'll happen this week.
And so on the infrastructure, you're working on roads and trails and other things too, right?
So we've got a lot of road projects in the mix. Obviously, and this doesn't pertain to Williamston per se, but DOT is scheduled to pave SC20, which is our main street, this year. It was scheduled for last year. That never came to fruition, but they've already started doing the full depth patching, fixing those problematic areas along Main Street. And we've got a list of probably at least 5 roads that have been approved already through the County C Funds committee that are slated to be paved. They should start any day now being paved. Those are our worst of roads. And then we've got an additional 5 that have been requested that we're still waiting approval. And then we've got another 5 or 6 in the pipe coming to be approved as well. So lots of projects going on. We've got our sewer project that goes from, you got phase 1 and phase 2 that goes from our wastewater treatment plant through Veterans Park and then back on out to the fire department. That'll cure some of the issues we've had with sanitary sewer overflows when you have heavy rain events. The problem with the pipes there, number one, it's undersized. Number two, there's not enough fall on it. So any type of wastewater that goes through there in a normal day like today where you don't have much rain, it basically sets and accumulates in the bottom of that pipe. And so when you do have that heavy rain event, it took what was a 6-inch pipe and turned it into about a 3-inch pipe. So that project, you've got phase one, which will go from the sewer plant to Veterans Park. That project is complete. DHEC has, again, just gave their approval to make that line active. And again, I expect that to happen this week as well. And then phase two, which will be about another $2 million project, will be kicking off right behind it. And it'll go from Veterans Park to the fire department.
We're talking about parks here. I know you've got new playground, pickleball courts before that. What else is going on over in Mineral Spring Park?
So, obviously we do, daily improvements, whether it be, the electrical out there. We're doing some electrical improvements now. And then this budget cycle, we just had our first budget work session, last week. And some of the things we talked about was potentially replacing the restrooms in Mineral Spring Park by the pickleball courts. And one reason to do that, obviously with the new playground, there's you can't even imagine the activity that's there. And right now we currently have a 2-stall. In the men's you have a urinal and a toilet, and in the women's you have 2 toilets. Well, when you got 1,500, 2,000 people out there, it's pretty hard to accommodate them. So we've got some budget numbers that have came in. We're looking, it looks like it'll be around $200,000 to basically doze and redo. We were looking to add on to those restrooms and do some improvements to them. The problem is the chaseway runs in such a way that it will be less expensive to actually doze it and redo than it would be to try to add on to that existing structure. So those are some things we got going on. Again, we're making constant improvements, whether it be Envision Williamston just had a project where they installed some poles with outdoor lighting across the dance floor in front of the amphitheater. So that's been a welcomed improvement. During Helene, we had a pretty major issue with the footbridge, the ped bridge that goes across the Veterans Park. The structure is compromised. It's still standing, and I guess you could still walk across it. But right now, we've got it closed because we've got some major renovations going on in Veterans Park as well. In addition, we've got an trail expansion that will pick up around the cul-de-sac in Veterans Park, and we'll extend that across William Street, follow the creek bank almost to Mule Street. So back behind the Brock Lane project. So we're looking forward to that. That's been bid out. Laser Construction was the low bid on it, and we expect that to start kicking off any day now. I think they went through their 30-day wait period for a protest period for the bids that came in, and Laser Construction was the low bid on it. So we expect to have a good project come out of that one as well. Mm-hmm. And that's a 50-50 ARC grant, where the town pays half, ARC pays the other half, and I want to say that number came in around $300,000.
There's another park too you and I talk about, but it just left my mind that y'all done some.
Brookdale Park.
Yeah, tell me
so
about
we're
Brookdale
continuing
Park.
to make Brookdale improvements. We just obviously we just got the new shelter installed at the same time we did the playground in Mineral Spring Park. We got new fencing around the playground there, so that's been a pretty major issue. Even in Mineral Spring Park, we got the fence in there now around both the toddler playground and the large playground. You're so close to the road, it's pretty easy for a toddler, or even a 5-year-old, and our parks are now inclusive. So you may have a special needs child that runs out toward the road. That fence is just one more extra step. So we did the same thing at Brookdale, and then we've also got a company that is starting this week, putting in a Little League football practice field where the old tennis courts used to be there. They're bringing in the appropriate dirt, and then they're laser leveling that area and making a Little League football practice field. So that's something we're looking forward to as well. We want to have more activity at Brookdale Park. It's a community park. It's kind of off the beaten path, and unless you live in the neighborhood, a lot of people really don't even know that it's there. So we're working on that. In the budget work session, one of the other things that came out of that was appropriate signage. So, if you're coming on Greenville Drive headed toward Pelzer, we'd like to see some signage that directs people toward Brookdale Park that may not even know this there.
For a town your size, y'all have a lot of parks. And you're talking about budget. I guess that's an expensive.
We do. And in addition to maintaining the parks, we also keep the grass cut at the Caroline Community Center. The Williamston Masonic Lodge, that was an agreement that was made back decades and decades ago. The town basically traded out some property, the old Lander property, right there where the railroad is shut down, if you on Gossett. in exchange for upkeep of the grounds there. So we've got that to take care of. We've got Gray Drive walking trail, which is actually probably a 10-acre park. It's a pretty good sized park. We've got the pocket park and the new gazebo. I guess you saw that on your way in. That's a really attractive addition. We just got the picnic tables installed there this last week. So if you go to Bojangles, and you can sit down on the picnic table and enjoy that gazebo there at Chris Coleman Park.
I know we've talked about new businesses coming. You said some of them are not ready to announce. What are we looking at that you can talk about, or what can you almost talk about?
Well, we're looking, and we're talking with some folks that maybe will make life easier on our Williamston residents. You'll notice if you drive through town, you'll see some flags going up and whatnot. Those are all indicative of folks that are surveying and looking to call Williamston home, and we certainly welcome with open arms. We've got a new business, Wicked Licks, just opened up about 2 weeks ago. They have a business, ice cream business in Walhalla. They're in Walhalla. And so this is their second location here in Williamston. The owners live over by the jockey lot, and so they're glad to have a business real close to home. And it's been a huge hit. I went there one day, and I had my wife stand in line for me while I did a little talking to the crowd. But it was about a 35-40 minute wait, and they've been lines out the door since they've opened. So
It's not even summer yet.
it's not even summer yet. So really, really good ice cream. I've enjoyed it very much. Our community has seemed to enjoy it a lot. And one other thing, they're employing some of the kids that are my daughter's age, that are 15, 16 years old, that they're getting their first opportunity to work with customers and do that customer service. And that's a huge important step in our kids' lives, of being able to interact with the public, and having that smile on their face, be able to count money, and do the things that are important when you move on up in other jobs. So we're super excited to have Wicked Licks here in Williamston as well. They complement Maple Bakery very well.
And I guess we're moving into event season.
We do have a lot of events going on. We just finished up the Working on Williamston Day, and then we had the Founders Day at the Caroline Community Center, which you were at. I appreciate you coming and covering that. So I'll run through quickly the events, and I'm just going to go to June 28th, because that's
We'll get together again.
We'll get together after that. May the 2nd and 3rd, we have the Spring Water Festival for the very first time, actually in the spring, not the fourth Saturday in August. So we're hoping for some cooler weather. 75, 80 degrees would be wonderful. We're praying for that and praying for no rain on that day. So we're looking forward to that. That promises to be a big hit. We'll have the run, the car show, obviously the crafts, all the traditional stuff that we have at Spring Water Festival. The night of the 3rd, I think they're going to have a concert out there at the amphitheater. So we're looking forward to that. And the evening of the 3rd, which would be Spring Water Festival, wraps up on the 3rd. And that evening, Envision Williamston will have their Cinco de Mayo concert and event out there. We'll have a piñata, all the great things to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. And then following that, May the 16th, we'll have Pig in the Park. We'll kick off on the 16th. And Envision Williamston will also have a community concert there on the 16th. And then the 17th, we have all the activities of Pig in the Park. You won't want to miss that. So one price you pay, and you get to sample all the different barbecue. I'll be competing in that this year too, Greg. So for the first year, the Masonic Lodge has gave me a reprieve not to have to work it, and instead they're going to allow me to compete. So I look forward to competing with all the other fantastic barbecue connoisseurs out there. I'm kind of partial. I think my barbecue's better than theirs.
What's your specialty?
Boston butt all day long. Pulled pork. Man, that's just something. I've got a Rectech. The old days of stick burner where you throw the logs in there and you maintain dampers and airflow and all that stuff, and you got to spend all night. I'm not doing that. I've got a Rectech, so I roll this Rectech grill out there. I put probes in, set my temperature, set it, forget it, take a nap, wake up in the morning, and it's cooked to perfection. So make sure you come out and cover that, and make sure you come sample Rocky's All Sauced Up Barbecue. Again, that's the 16th and the 17th. On May the 20th and 23rd and 24th, we'll have Camping Creekside. So you've got the Volkswagen buses that'll come out, and they'll camp all out in the park. Really, really good event. They'll have a bonfire and do marshmallows and that type stuff. A lot of good interacting with folks who share a common thing in their love for Volkswagen buses and Beetles. So there'll be lots of those out there. And then June the 28th will be our Freedom Celebration. Now, last year, it's going to be hard to beat our Freedom Celebration that we had last year with Guy Rigdon. And, but Chris Trotter has worked with me, and obviously my staff, in booking an artist and getting the fireworks. Our fire department does the fireworks display, getting the stage set up. This year promises to be even better. I think if we can top last year, it'll be a feat, but we're going to do our very best. So we look forward to folks coming out on the 28th. We'll have the golf cart parade. I believe this is going to be at noonish, maybe, on the June the 28th, where we get the golf carts, we ride around town, decorate them up, parade around, really show our patriotism. Williamston's a very, very patriotic community, which I love. So that's one of my favorite events that we offer. And we got a ton on down, but that's the ones we're going to talk about. A little much to digest at one time.
And you mentioned the budget. What are the budget challenges moving here into this year?
Obviously, money's always a budget challenge. This year, our revenues have increased, which is good. That tells us what we're doing is working. We did not have a tax increase, so I don't anticipate a tax increase this year either. One of my objectives this year, I've got two objectives that are really, really pressing for me. One of them's the restroom, Mineral Spring Park, upgrading that. But the second is a $2 an hour across the board for our hourly employees. We've still got folks that are making, 14, 15 bucks an hour. And if you've worked if you have a job now and you go to buy groceries and stuff like that, you know that it's impossible to survive on that. And that will at least help us keep and retain employees. But in addition to that, if we have an employee leave, that also helps a little bit in trying to recruit other folks that, to come to work for the town. We have a ton of great benefits here at the town. But ultimately, benefits doesn't pay the bills, and so that's one of the objectives that I'm working very hard on this year, and I think council will be very supportive of that.